Hey guys, Jason here with a word to the wise. I'm trying to get into this video and I just started it and I already got 5 minutes without really getting anywhere. So I'm going to try to slow down. And that last video, I wanted to get all those things off my chest a little bit more. I'm not saying anything is prophesied or anything like that. I'm just trying to show reference to a lot of ideas and a lot of things that people should be thinking about, because if they're willing to do these things in that timepiece land. And the thing that was interesting, I watched Manny Fisher's had a video he put up, and he was just trying to just get some information out too, and one thing that he said is, like, if you look up violence on Bible Hub in the Old Testament and you translate that into English and you go into it and they show you the phonics spelling and stuff, Hamas means violence in Hebrew. So you're telling me that your enemies who don't like you wanted to use your language, which they hate, and they want to call themselves violence to bring violence upon you. Like their organization is called Violence in Hebrew. Isn't that just weird? Like if I was Arabic or something, I'd think of some sort of a cool name, like pick anything out of a hat. But to pick that and have it referenced, it's like, that's kind of strange, don't you think? Anyway, we'll move on from that. A lot of things you could think and kind of process into that. And I'm sure that things will come out in the future kind of pointing more towards that, but it's going to take some time. But what I want to talk about here is Matthew 24, because what did he say when he was standing on the Mount of Olives and looking down? And there's like, when are all these things going to happen? And he says to them, as they're showing him the temple. I could paraphrase, but I've got it bookmarked. I might as well just go right to it. You see all these things, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will not be here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. And he sat on the Mount of Olives, and his disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when will these things be? And the end of the age. And Jesus answered them, see that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and they will lead many astray. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. So let's just pause there for a sec. Now, interesting that when you look at Matthew 24, he's talking about the end of the age, and yet you go into Revelation and you see the times of the end of the age, and everything that Jesus says doesn't match as much into Revelations. What is he talking about? What point is that? And I can only imagine, Jesus, the Lamb, opens the seals in chapter 6. So the first verse there. Now I watched when the Lamb opened the 7 seals. And I heard one of the 4 living creatures say with a voice like thunder, come. And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and its rider had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he came out conquering and to conquer. So people will say, well, you can reference into Revelation 19, Jesus comes on a white horse. And the white horse comes conquering and to conquer. So Jesus opened the seal for himself. And then when he opens the second seal, so he goes back to open. So I don't know, but I can look at the 7 seals, and that's what I can imagine are the beginning of the end of the age. And Jesus says first, see that no man deceives you. And then he opens up the seal, and I'm wondering, is he warning that the first guy that's going to come on the scene, see that that man doesn't deceive you? And then you will see wars and rumors of wars. So then you go to the second seal. And out came another horse, bright red, and its rider was permitted to take peace from the earth, so that people should slay one another. And he was given a great sword. Now this isn't saying to the world that they should slay one another. Not that this is happening in that timepiece land. you can look at the two witnesses. They are in that timepiece land when their Apollyon is among them. So I don't think we're there yet to say that the trumpets are going on. But is this the beginning of wars and rumors of wars? And that's why I said that in that last video. It makes me wonder if they're willing to do this and start some sort of a trouble there now. Look at our border situations. Look at things that are happening with poking of the bear. And there was always a constant worry about Poland and all these things kind of branching out further and further in. Doesn't seem like it's ever really done anything. They just like to terrorize people and communities, and they never seem to attack their own government, the government buildings of their enemies, where they sit there and they plan against their enemies. Like, wouldn't it be a good idea to kind of like stop them from having some place to gather, make them gather in some place that's a little less comfortable? Or is it going a little too far? And then if we poke that hard, they're going to poke back, and then they might attack one of our government buildings. And then, we're going to have to be setting up tents out in the yard, and that's not going to be fun. So why don't we just all do the same thing? And you know what? I won't attack your government buildings. You guys don't attack mine. And we'll all kind of, we'll just lob missiles at our people's apartment buildings and schools, because you know what, our infrastructure really isn't that great, and those apartment buildings are really old, and I think that one has a building permit issue. Let's just kind of like clean up some stuff while we're doing this, if you know what I mean. There again, you go into that timepiece land, they got some sort of a thing that's blocking them on their mount where they want to build something. And here you see a lot of that, news for that timepiece land, and they're showing you they got red heifers coming. They've got all the altars and ornaments and stuff like that they want to display, but there's still that one thing that's kind of keeping them from really doing what they want to do. So all we can do is wait. I'll leave this like this. We can move on to the third seal in the next video, because I think that would be a little bit easier to kind of just, tone back these messages. There's going to be a lot of information you can look at. That's why Jeremiah is huge. And I'd love to go into Isaiah and to Ezekiel and find more of the same kind of things talking. And I can't think of the verse or where it was, but I thought there was a verse about testing prophets. All right, I'll leave it at that. Just a word of the wise, guys. God bless. I'll be back. I'm going to try to just keep pointing scripture to scripture, because I think that's the best thing that we can look at. Anybody that's talking about, there's a coming peace, they don't have anything to worry about, go to Jeremiah 23, go to 21, go to Jeremiah 25, read those chapters and just see. They'd love to sit there and say, we got nothing to worry about. But when the two prophets are there, what happens after they're killed and their bodies are called back up to heaven? Great earthquake. The city is split into three, or a third of the city falls. That's what it is, I think. And let's just wait and see. That's all I can say. Just a word of the wise. God bless, guys.